According to Hindu mythology, the Valley of Kashmir was created out of the efforts of Kashyap Rishi. For a long time it is known as Kashyap Mor, which means, literally, the place of Kashyap, which then later evolved into the word Kashmir. Kashmir stands apart for its outstanding contributions to religion, philosophy, the arts, and literature, not to speak of the spiritual grace that it bountifully offered to its inhabitants. The Kashmiris thus prayed and stayed together. They lived in peace with compassion, sharing their common legacy. Then, specially trained mullahs started working in mosques as well as at private residences to brainwash and indoctrinate young Kashmiri Muslim boys, largely semi-literate, into a fanatical creed, devoid of all basic human values, rationality, and reason. This education of Islamic fundamentalism gave birth to a totally different breed of fanatics, which spread nothing but hatred and death towards Hindus. The militants were born. Eyes which had loved each other developed hatred. Faces which used to shine with open affection are covered by masks now. A new era began in the valley, an era of terrorism. Pakistan worked hard, and the Jamaat-e-Islami moved from strength to strength. This coincided with the direct extortions upon the Kashmiri Muslims by the Pakistani media, including speeches of the then Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto. The countdown for the final onslaught started somewhere in the beginning of 1989. Bomb blasts, destruction of government property became a regular affair. 14th August, Pakistan's Independence Day, was celebrated, and 15th August was a total blackout. Everyone was forced to adjust his watch with Pakistan's standard time. No Hindu female was allowed to wear a tikka on her forehead, and if she did, acid was thrown on her face. Hindus started receiving threatening phone calls and letters to vacate Kashmir.
अगर आप लोग यहाँ से नहीं चले गए तो हम आपके मकानों को जलाकर राख कर देंगे। ये आपके लिए आखिरी मौका है। चले जाओ, इस कश्मीर से चले जाओ।
Protests by Hindus to the central government didn't have any impact. This was followed by brutal killings of innocent Hindus. Advocate Tiklal Taplu, philosopher Sarvanand Premi, Justice Neelkant Ganju, Advocate Premnath Bhatt, Dudarshan Dutta Rasa Kaul, all laid down their lives in the name of this secular and democratic India. Women were cut into pieces by saw machines and thrown into the Jhelum River. All this was happening while Farooq Abdullah was the chief minister, busy playing golf and moving around. This was happening even when Governor Jagmohan sent report after report seeking the attention of the government, but chose not to see what was happening under its very nose. Dr. Rubia Sayed, daughter of the then Home Minister of India, was kidnapped by militants. The government of India promptly bowed for kidnappers by releasing 5 hardcore terrorists who were also responsible for the cold-blooded murder of many innocent lives in exchange for the life of the Home Minister's daughter. People came out into the streets to celebrate, not the release of Dr. Rubia Sayed, but of those 5 hardcore murderers. Hindus were forced out of their homes to join and shout anti-India slogans and lead the procession so that if the security forces fired, Hindus would face the bullets. And it did happen. Many Hindus died that day in the crossfiring. Criminals became heroes overnight. History repeated itself when Nahida Imtiaz, daughter of Saifuddin Soz, Member of Parliament, was kidnapped. Militants were released once again. Why were the militants not released when the HMT General Manager, Mr. Khera, and the Srinagar University Vice-Chancellor, Mushirul Haq, were kidnapped? Saura Hospital became a militant's den. The blood of Hindus was stored after it was removed from their bodies. This was then used to treat injured militants. When Hindus were admitted to the hospital, leading doctors refused to attend to them. Indian currency was rejected by the locals, and instead, Pakistani currency was being used. The Hindu thought these dark clouds would pass one day, but their illusion was broken when at 12 midnight on the 20th of January, a cassette blared through the loudspeakers of all the mosques in the valley for 3 continuous days. The Hindus were shattered. Young girls committed suicide out of fear of being raped and then cut to pieces. Some took poison. Some jumped from the top floors of their houses. Screams and shouts of agony were heard from Hindu homes throughout the valley. In order to safeguard their dignity and prestige, nearly 250,000 Hindus left behind everything they had and came to take refuge in the feet of Mother India. Secular and democratic Mother India. But what kind of refuge is this? Indians, refugees in their own country?
यहाँ पर सब टेंटों का यही हाल है।
They are living like animals in the meadows. Nobody is taking care of ours.
So you got tent is
totally gone out of order.
In these squalid camps, some died of snake bites. The elders died of sunstroke. The others died of infections and diseases.
हम जब घर से निकले, अपने घर मकान छोड़ दिए, हमने सोचा कि हम कहीं भी चले जाए तो हमारे सपोर्ट सभी हिंदू भाई करेंगे। लेकिन यहाँ आके ऐसे चला कि जैसे हम तन्हा में बैठे हुए हैं। ना तो हमें कोई पूछता है और सभी इस वक्त बोलते हैं कि बेहतर था वही गोली खाना, लेकिन यहाँ नहीं आना था।
We would like to draw the attention of the Indian masses as well as the world community to desist from giving any ex-party hearing in the Kashmir problem. The Kashmiri Hindu is necessarily a pertinent and aboriginal party to the Kashmir issue. From whatever angle this problem is addressed, the wishes, the interests and aspirations of this ethnic minority have to be ascertained and secured and enshrined in the Constitution of India. When internationally the bogey of repression in Kashmir is echoed in the World Forum, is there anyone to listen and look at what has become of this tribe of Kashmir, who have a strength of over 500,000 the world over? Is this how human rights are reckoned? Is this how the world's greatest and the largest democracy turned a blind eye to over 1,000 murders of innocent, unarmed and helpless men, women and children which have taken place in the valley of Kashmir over the span of the last 1.5 years in the hands of this world-acclaimed, self-styled freedom fighters of Kashmir? Is this how the propriety of the citadels of human awakening and freedom respond to the complete exodus of the entire race? Kashmir belongs as much to Kashmiri Hindus as it belongs to the Kashmiri Muslims. Can the United States of America or any other civilized power, or for that matter, even Amnesty International, justify the barbaric uprooting of an entire race of people whose only fault is that they too are the sons of this soil of Kashmir?
जुलूस निकालते थे, हमारी बहू बेटियों को गालियां देते थे, इसीलिए हम वहाँ से भाग आए।
तो मैं उधर गली में निकली तो मैंने अपने भाई को वहाँ देखा नीचे गिरे हुए, तो मैंने उसको उठाया और बुलाया, सतेश सतेश, मगर वो कुछ नहीं बोला।
तो उनको पोस्टर लगाए थे, फिर उन्होंने बोला कि आपने कोई मुसलमान नहीं आया था हमें बोलने के लिए। पोस्टर देके फिर पुलिस गई सिविल वार्डी में देखने के लिए, तो वहाँ उन्होंने लिखा था उसमें कि हमने उनको मारा, जेल में डाला हमने उसको, मगर हमें आज तक बॉडी का पता ही नहीं चला।
लाश तो हमें नहीं ले दी गई।
मतलब आपको पता चला?
मैंने प्रोटेस्ट किया डीएसपी को, उसने माना नहीं, उसने कहा मैं तो तहकीकात कर रहा हूँ।
हमारे बेटे को अनंतनाग के मेन पुल पर गोलियों से भून डाला।
फलाने सिंह अतर सिंह ना तो थोड़ा उन्हें आख्या उधर उठिए गए, उठी ले बाड़ी तीन गोलियां देती तो उठा खत्म करिए।
एक आदमी घर आया, मम्मी को कहने लगा कि आपको कोई बुलाता है, वो डैडी बुलाता है बाहर, उसके साथ एक और मेहमान खड़ा है। मम्मी जब उधर गई तो वहाँ पर डैडी की लाश थी।
मेरा बड़ा बेटा था, 8 जुलाई को माँ के श्राद्ध पर आया था। 11 बजे रात को उसको बिस्तर से उठाकर ले गए और अगले दिन उसकी लाश हमें मिली।
These little children, they were told, the future of our country depends on you. We are now entering the 21st century, so be prepared. But what kind of 21st century is this, where these children are counting the days when they will go back to their homes and lead normal lives? But what is their future? Who will be responsible for their disturbed and dark careers ahead of them? Who will be responsible for the sense of frustration growing in each of them due to the hardships they are facing in their studies? In this open school, where the temperature is not less than 45 degrees in summer, one can only imagine their situation during the rains and in winter. How long do I have to consider this tent as my home? How long do I have to play with these ropes? How long do I have to suffer this punishment of being the child of an Indian? How long? Thank God you are not here in these camps and suffering like us. But if this has happened to us, then tomorrow it can happen to you. Because you also belong to this great secular democratic country called India. So, In the name of humanity, please think and do whatever little you can for us. Please.